Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today's yin class is a sequence that I like to call the lazy Sunday sequence. So we will be spending the entire time on our back, and we will not be getting up. So this is a really good class if you're just looking for something to ground you down, maybe before bed, winding down, or maybe you're just having one of those days where you need something to kind of nourish your body, but you don't necessarily have to do much. Grab any and all props that you have available to you. You can grab pillows, a yoga bolster if you have one, blankets, and blocks. At minimal, you will need a strap or something similar, so that can be a belt or a tie, scarf, bandana, or even a hand towel. And if you do not have any props, then that is perfectly fine. You'll still be able to do the class, and I'll just make sure to offer alternatives. Once you get yourself situated and you have all of your props, we will make our way to our backs, and we will start in reclining butterfly. So once on your back, place the soles of your feet together and let your knees come apart. And then just adjust accordingly, so your feet can be closer towards your pelvis or your feet can be further away. If you need something underneath your thighs, you can place a block underneath each one, or maybe a pillow or even a rolled up blanket. Another way you can adjust is to place something underneath your feet so your legs are a little bit more elevated. That'll get you more sensation. And feel free to place something underneath your head like a pillow or a blanket. Once you arrive in your shape and you've adjusted yourself with props and supported yourself, just close your eyes maybe, or soften your gaze, and just start to come into your breathing. Notice your breath. Notice how your body is feeling today. And even notice the thoughts that are going through your head at this very moment. One thing I love about this yin practice is because we have time in every pose, it gives us a complete opportunity throughout the class to settle in. We're not having to move from pose to pose, so we can use the time in each pose to center ourselves and ground ourselves. So we are about halfway through. So as we're holding the poses, remember that you can make adjustments as needed. So if you would like to take some props away, maybe you had some props underneath your thighs that you would like to remove, feel free to do so. And just continue to focus in on your breath. Continue to focus in on whatever sensations are arising in every pose. And also notice the thoughts. In yin, it's a wonderful opportunity to practice observing the mind and observing the fluctuations of the mind. And that's what really the yoga practice is about. It's about tending to those fluctuations and learning how to not react to them, but simply observe and make adjustments from there. We do the same with our body in the yin tradition. As we hold these poses for a while, sensations are going to arise naturally as our body gently opens. And making adjustments to tend to your body is part of the mindfulness practice of yin. Wherever you are, take a deep inhale and a soft exhale. If you had any props underneath your legs or your feet, go ahead and move those off to the side. Using your hands, slowly draw your knees together and scoot your feet to the outer edges of your mat, letting your knees fall in. And every long hold will follow it by a short rebound. In yin, our body is getting light and gentle stress, and we're working into the connective tissues, which have a very yin-like quality, so they're a little bit more fragile and sensitive than the more yang-like elastic superficial muscles. And it needs a little bit more of a gentle recovery period, whereas the superficial muscles can be put through more intense stress, but they only need a shorter period of recovery because they have such an elastic-like quality. These rebounds are just also another way that we can become more mindful of our body and slow down. It's important to be able to slow down between the transitions, not only in our yoga practice, but also transitions in our lives. So from here, go ahead and draw both knees into your chest and give yourself a gentle hug, maybe a gentle rock from left to right along your low back and your sacrum. And then keep holding onto your right leg. Set your left foot down to the floor with your left knee bent. You'll grab the outer edge of your right foot, or you can grab the inner arch with your hand. Let your foot point up towards the sky, but your knee will still be bent, and your knee is pointing towards the direction of your armpits or the floor. And you can either keep your left leg bent as is, or you can straighten your left leg towards the front of the room to get a little bit more sensation. If holding onto your foot is too uncomfortable, you can use a strap or a towel. You can also hold the inside of your ankle, your calf, your shin, or you can even hold on to the back crease of your knee. So just let yourself settle in and come into your breathing. Notice where you're feeling the sensation the most here in this pose. And as you notice sensation, see if you can bring your attention and focus to those places where you feel the most sensation. And breathe as if you can send the breath to that specific area. And then just notice what you feel as you're focusing your attention on these spaces and breathing as if you can breathe into them. So we're here for a few more breaths. Maybe you've had your left knee bent the entire time, and maybe you want to see what happens if you straighten that left leg forward. Maybe you've been holding on to your knee or your calf or using a strap, and maybe see what it feels like to hold on to your foot now. Take a deep inhale and exhale. If your left leg is straightened forward, go ahead and rebend your left knee, sitting your foot to the floor. Let go of your right foot, and then bend your right knee, draw it in towards your chest, and then just start to make some circles with your right knee, moving through that hip joint. Just one direction, big or small, go nice and slow. Then going the opposite direction. And come back to center, and then you'll place your right ankle on your left thigh, creating a figure 4 shape with your legs. Now, you can either stay here with your left foot on the ground. You can also place a block or a prop underneath your left foot to elevate your legs. Or you can grab behind your left thigh and pull your left leg towards your chest. I personally like to take something underneath my hips, like a bolster or a couple of blankets. And what that does is the elevation of my hips allows my legs to go towards my chest without me having to use too much of my arm strength. So maybe see how that feels for you. And if that feels like it's reasonable, then feel free to stay there. And remember that when we come into these poses in yin, we do not necessarily have to go to our furthest edge of sensation. Every day is different. Our body is always changing and evolving every time that we step onto our mat. So it's important to, rather than honor what we know or what we think is our furthest edge of flexibility and mobility, it's important to honor what our body is feeling that day. So even if you know that you can hold on to your left leg in this pose, and you usually do that, maybe today that's not what your body needs. Maybe you need to be a little bit more gentle. So part of the practice of yin is discerning what our body needs today rather than knowing what our body can do and always doing that. Sometimes that can be just the ego in play. And part of the yoga practice in general, whether yin or not, is not following the pattern of our ego, but more following the pattern of what we need in the present moment. Wherever you are, take a deep inhale and exhale. If you have a hold of your left leg, let it go. Uncross your figure 4, and if you had any prop underneath your hip or underneath your left foot, move those off to the side. With your knees bent, scoot your feet to the outer edges of your mat, and then start to windshield wiper your knees from left to right. Allow your hips to turn with your legs, and you can rock your head in the opposite direction of your knees. And then the next time that your knees fall to the left, pause there. This will be our next pose. Feel free to place any props underneath your legs. And if you would like a little bit more sensation, you can take your left foot and stack it on top of your right knee or thigh. With your arms, you can take your arms out to a T or even goalpost your arms. That'll get a little bit more into your right chest and right shoulder. Or you can reach your right arm towards the back wall, and that'll target the right lateral side of your body. If this pose is too much for you, maybe you're feeling some sensitivity in your knees or even in your low back, you can take a standard twist, just bringing your legs together and taking them over to the left. Once you've come into your shape, just start to come into your breathing again and continue to notice body sensation, notice thoughts, notice your breath. And just constantly keep coming back to the present. That is what makes this yin practice a good preparation for meditation, because the mind can easily wander off and the body can easily distract us. We can turn to our breath. We can turn to what's going on in the present moment and use that as our anchor to stay present. We're here for just a few more breaths. Continue to stay where you are or make any adjustments. And if you need to back out of the pose early and rebound early, then feel free to do that. You do not have to stay in these poses the entire time. The times that I'm asking you to hold are just merely suggestion. Maybe what your body needs is just a shorter period of sensation and more time to rest. And take a deep inhale and exhale. If you had your left foot on top of your right near thigh, go ahead and uncross it. If you had any props, go ahead and move those off to the side. And then slowly draw your knees back to center. And then just rebound by extending your legs out in front and letting your arms float down by your sides. Just a mini Shavasana. And just notice how you feel in your right hip. And go ahead and draw both knees into your chest and give yourself a gentle hug. Maybe a gentle rock from left to right. Hold on to your left knee and let go of your right leg. Just set your right foot to the floor with your right leg bent or straighten your right leg forward. Half happy baby, you can either grab the outside of your left foot, inside arch, ankle, shin, or even the back of your knee, or you can use a strap on your foot. Your left foot will point up towards the sky as your left knee bends towards the floor and towards the direction of your armpit. And then just come into your breath. And maybe right away just notice how this side feels different from the other. And just simply observe. So when we do asymmetrical poses in the yin tradition, we're not trying to necessarily make the two sides the same. We allow each side to be their own experience. And we just make adjustments according to what each side needs without regard to what we did on the other side. So just as you're holding here, notice how this hip feels. And if you need to make any adjustments, maybe you held onto your foot the last time, but this time you need to take a different arm position, then feel free to do so. Maybe you had your left leg extended forward when you were doing half happy baby on the right side, but for this side, you need to keep your right leg bent. We'll be here for a few more breaths. Make any adjustments as needed. And of course, if you need to exit the pose early, feel free to do so. And as we start to go deeper into the class, I will start to say less and leave more space for you to be in the pose. So utilize all of your tools, your breath, noticing body sensation and noticing thoughts to remain present in those moments of silence. And take a deep inhale. And exhale. Let go of your left foot, bend your left knee and draw it in towards your chest. And then just start to make some movement with your left knee, moving it in circles, one direction, nice and slow. And then the other direction. If you bent your right leg, or if you straightened your right leg, go ahead and rebend your right knee. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh, figure 4. And you can either stay here, just letting your legs hang in gravity. You can elevate your right foot up on a block or a prop, or you can grab behind your right leg. And you can either do this with your hips flat on the ground or elevate your hips off the floor, and that will allow your legs to go a little bit more towards you. So it kind of almost becomes like a forward fold. Once you have found your shape for figure 4, come into your breath. Continue to notice the sensations of your body. Notice how different this side feels. And not trying to make it the same, but just letting it be its own experience. Take a deep inhale and exhale. If you have a hold of your right leg, let it go. Uncross your left foot from your right, setting both feet to the floor. And if you had a prop underneath your right foot or your hips, go ahead and move those off to the side. Take your feet to the outer edges of your mat, and then just gently and slowly windshield wiper your knees from left to right. Go nice and slow and allow your hips to turn with your knees, and allow maybe even your head to rock the opposite direction. And the next time that your knees fall to the right, pause there, and then this will be our next pose. So feel free to take blocks or any other props underneath your legs to support them. Your right foot can stack on top of your left knee or thigh. And if you need to take a standard twist with your legs together and legs to the right, that is also fine. And any variation with your arms, if you take your left arm out to a T or goalpost, that'll access a little bit more into your left chest and shoulder. Reaching your left arm towards the back wall may target a little bit more into your left side body. Once you found the shape, come into your breath. Continue to notice sensation, thoughts. Just continually allow your attention to come to the present moment. Just a little bit less than halfway to go. Just continue to stick with your breath. Make any adjustments as needed. And as always, if you need to come out of the pose early, feel free to do so. Invite a deep inhale. And exhale. If you had your right foot crossed on top of your left leg, uncross it. Any props supporting your legs, move those off to the side. And then slowly draw your knees back to center. Extend your legs long out in front of you. Let your arms float down by your sides. And just pause in a mini shavasana and just notice how you feel. From here, draw your right knee into your chest. If you have your strap, place your strap along the ball of your right foot, where the ball of your foot and the arch of your foot meets. And then you'll straighten your right leg up towards the sky. With the strap, walk your hands far enough up the strap to where your arms are straight, but your shoulder blades are still on the floor. And then just allow your arms to be heavy to create some tension on that strap. And your right foot will simply just rest into the strap. If you are not working with a strap today, just interlace your fingers behind your right thigh and straighten your right leg up towards the ceiling. And you can walk your hands further up your leg, but just walk your hands far enough to where your shoulders can still be on the floor. And your right leg does not have to be all the way straight, so if you need a soft bend in your knee, then feel free to take that. And if at any point in time you need to shake out your arms or your wrists, feel free to let go of the strap, give your arm and wrists a little shake, and then come back into the pose. So you can continue to stay here with your leg in a neutral position, but if you want to change up the variation, switch both ends of the strap into your right hand, or if you're not working with a strap, just hold onto your right leg with your right hand. And then you're going to take your right leg out to the side and take it to the point just before your left hip has to lift off the ground, and then pause there. You can use a block or a bolster to support your thigh. If your right leg is out to the side, take it back to center. And then third variation, you'll switch both ends of the strap into your left hand, or just take your right leg into your left hand. And then slowly let your right leg cross all the way over to the left. Allow your hips to turn as your chest stays square to the floor, coming into a reclining twist variation. And feel free to support your right leg with a block or a bolster or any other props that you have. And remember, these variations are just options, so if you want to stay in neutral the entire time, feel free to do so. If you are in the twist, take your right leg back to center. And then if you have the strap on your foot, release your foot from the strap and slowly lower your right leg down to meet your left. And then just pause in a mini shavasana and just notice how you feel in your right hip and your right leg. So draw your left knee into your chest. And you can take your strap, place it along your left foot where the arch and the ball of your foot meet. Straighten your left leg up towards the ceiling. And again, you can have a soft bend in your knee, and your right leg can remain straight, or you can bend your right knee, sending your right foot to the floor. And walk your hands far enough of your strap to where your arms are straight and your shoulders are still on the ground. And just let your arms be heavy, creating natural tension on the strap. Your foot will rest. And if you are not working with a strap, just interlace your fingers behind your left thigh and straighten your left leg. Feel free to stay here in this neutral position, or take both ends of the strap into your left hand and take your left leg out to the side. And you can also take your leg out to the side, just holding it with your arm if you do not have a strap. Support your leg with a block or a bolster, and breathe. If your leg is out to the side, take it back to center. Switch both ends of the strap into your right hand, or just hold onto your leg with your right hand. And then move your left leg, let it cross all the way over to the right, letting your hips stack and turn. Chest stays square to the floor in reclining twist variation. And of course, place a block underneath your left leg if you need to support it. And on your next inhale, if you're in the twist, take your leg back to center. Release your leg from your arms or your strap, and slowly lower your left leg down to meet your right. Arms down by your sides. Pause here in a mini Shavasana. And just notice any new sensations that arise. Notice maybe a sense of equilibrium in your hips and your legs. And then place your feet on the floor. Our next pose will be supported bridge. So grab a block, a bolster. You can also do this with a stack of pillows or stack blankets. And you're going to slide those props underneath your hips. And you want it right around the area where your sacrum is, so the base of your spine where it meets the top of your glutes. And once your hips are elevated off the floor, you can either keep your legs bent as is, or you can straighten your legs towards the front. If extending your legs forward is too intense, you can either just continue to keep your legs bent, or you can do one leg at a time. So you'll just extend your right leg forward, and I'll let you know when we're halfway so you can switch legs. And with your arms, you can just keep them down by your sides. If you want a little bit more into your chest, you can goalpost your arms or even reach your arms towards the wall behind you. And if you do not have any props at all, you can just come back to reclining butterfly with the soles of your feet together, knees apart, and just take your arms to goalpost so you still get some opening in your chest. We are at the halfway point, so if you were doing one leg extended forward, go ahead and switch. If your legs are still bent and maybe you want to try extending your legs forward, see how that feels. And if it is still too much on your thighs, your knees, or even your low back, just keep your legs bent. Take a deep inhale and exhale. If you are in supported bridge and you have one leg or both legs extended, go ahead and walk them back up towards you. If you are in butterfly, just slowly draw your knees together. And to rebound, we'll extend our legs up towards the sky for a waterfall, a little light inversion. And then slowly lower your feet down to the floor. If you had a prop underneath your hips for supported bridge, lift your hips up enough to slide those props away. And lower your hips down. Extend your legs out in front of you and reach your arms towards the back wall. Just take a moment to take a full body stretch. And keep your arms above your head and just relax your entire body. Keeping your hips where they are, walk your feet over to the right bottom corner of your mat. Grab your left wrist, give it a gentle tug upwards, and maybe scoot your shoulder blades over to the right. You can either keep holding onto your left wrist here. You can also let each hand grab the opposite elbow. Another variation is just to take your right arm down by your side and keep your left arm up. And if you would like to, you can also stack your left foot on top of your right. And just make sure that both hips are grounded to the floor as well as your shoulder blades. And you can either look past your right armpit or your left armpit. We're about halfway through. Continue to breathe, stay present. If you feel that sense of anticipation, that sense of knowing that the end of the class is near, can you allow yourself to continue to stay present in this pose, as if this was the only pose that you had to do for the rest of the day? Take a deep inhale and exhale. Slowly walk everything back to center, your feet, your shoulder blades, and your arms. And then we'll take it to the other side. So walk your feet to the left, hips stay where they are. You'll grab your right wrist, maybe scoot your shoulder blades over to the left. You can either hold onto your wrist, let each hand grab the opposite elbow, or just let your left arm float down by your side with your right arm up. Right foot can stack on top of left, and feel free to look any direction of your neck, whichever feels most comfortable. And just use your breath to stay present. Observe the thoughts if they're going towards the future. Allow yourself to bring them back to whatever sensations you're feeling in this moment. Last few breaths here. Deep inhale. And exhale. Slowly walk everything back to center. And draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself one last final hug. If a happy baby feels appropriate here, feel free to take it. Or maybe you do waterfall again with your legs up towards the sky. But our next pose will be our final one. So feel free to prop yourself up any way that you like or need. So something underneath your knees, something underneath your head or over your body. But once you've made your adjustments and you're in your shape, allow your breath to become effortless and just enjoy these next few moments of rest. And as always, if you would like to stay a little bit longer, I invite you to either hit the pause button or maybe just let the video finish out and just rest in Shavasana as long as you need. If you are ready to move on with the rest of your day, start to bring some gentle movement back in. And starting at your fingers and your toes and just letting it expand throughout the rest. And eventually draw your knees into your chest, roll to one side or the other, and then gently press yourself up to find a seat facing the front. From your seat, draw your hands at heart center in Anjali Mudra. Bow your head down towards yourself, acknowledging your effort, your energy, and giving yourself gratitude for showing up for yourself today. Thank you so much for sharing your practice. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. If you enjoy this video, hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you are brand new. And also hit the bell so that way you know when new videos are posted. If you know anybody that could use some more yoga in their life, please share my channel and maybe this video with them. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Have a wonderful day. Bye.